LCBN television broadcasts 24/7 on UK Freeview Channel 271, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, Google TV, See Love World, LCBNTV.com, LifeComTV.com.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Lydia. My name is Lydia Khalil. Today we are going to be talking about a disease that I'm sure a lot of us have heard about, but what is it exactly? I've got two people, Toks Oyemade and Latif. They're going to talk about their experience of a disease called sickle cell anemia. What is it? How does it affect lives? And they're both surviving it. Both of them have children, are married. So please join me as I welcome Toks and Latif. Hi, Toks. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
Hi, Latif.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me today as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just going to, I know I've got bios, but I think it'll do better for time if you just spoke about yourselves. So, Latif, do you want to go first?
Right, yeah. Thanks ever so much. And now there was a bit of a hiccup earlier on, but there you go. You know, that's
It
IT.
happens.
Yeah, it does happen. Yeah, my name is Lati Odusanya, and as you rightly mentioned, I someone who lives with sickle cell anemia. Just to kind of give you a short, bio of myself. I actually grew up in Nigeria and located to the UK around in the 90s. And so basically, it has really been a sort of uphill sort of struggle in terms of dealing with the sickle cell anemia. I sort of, before I relocated, I tried to sort of, managing the illness was not easy. But anyway, so when I relocated to the UK, I have to say that the management of the illness was quite really impressive, and compared to our health facilities in Nigeria. Anyway, so coming back to myself, as I said, I relocated to the UK in the 90s, and currently I work with a health regulatory authority as a regulatory advisor. And one thing that is quite very important to discuss when you want to discuss about sickle cell is how does it actually impact on the life of the person that live with it. And this is what I will be discussing with you later on. And I'll hand you over to Tokumbo to actually introduce ourselves as well.
So tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, as I was saying, my name is Toks Oyemade. I'm a mom of two boys. I'm married, and what's it called? I'm a SS warrior. And again, I call myself a warrior. Yes, because we are warriors.
Yeah.
So as Lati said, also I actually, relocate here as well from Nigeria in the 80s as well. And at the moment, I run a home-based business called With Mary Kay Cosmetics. Yeah.
All right.
So that's
okay.
In a nutshell.
Can you? I know loads of people. Today I did a bit of data sort of stats because sometimes when people hear, when they hear the figures, then they feel like, okay, it's something that is familiar, because I don't think anybody from the sub-Sahara part of the world would say that they've never heard or they don't know somebody. Yeah, it's something that is known of, and we hear a lot. Some of us have relatives who are suffering with the disease. But what I realized is that actually there was no, like, if I put in something like cancer, or you would get like a 1 in 4, you would get something quite accurate about the number of people. And the one I found, maybe there are better ones, just says there are millions of people, which made me think that actually not a lot of work is done into the research of it, the number of people that are suffering with it. But can either of you, because it just says it's common around people from the sub-Saharan Africa, some people in Southern America, the Caribbean, of course, Central America. Can either of you just tell me, not because I don't know, but for people who maybe know of it but don't know what it actually is, what it is?
Yeah. But may start. I think sickle cell anemia is an inherited blood disorder, which basically, apparently, the shape of the blood is actually shaped sickle instead of the round one that normal people have. So that's where you got the term, sickle cell anemia. And basically, our blood, the blood is actually most of the time is starved of oxygen. So that actually sort of relates to the anemia sort of background.
Okay.
And with this disorder, majorly it sort of affects the apart from the organ, your sort of internal system, so the spleen, the liver. It even sort of like affect the eyes as well. But majorly, there is an episode that we call sickling, which is actually, when we say a sickle cell, if I say have a sickle cell, that I'm sickling, or have a sort of sickle cell episode, it meant that I have sort of like a severe pain, and this is actually triggered by the entrapment of the blood cell within the bone marrow. So therefore, sort of trigger the sort of extreme pain that people with sickle cell goes through. And this pain, I'm sure, individuals, who are sickle cell warriors will probably, understand where I'm coming from. It's actually, in terms of the severity, because they used to ask me in the hospital, what's the severity of your pain from 1 to 10? I'm like, no, it's not 1 to 10. It's actually 1 to 1 to 90 or 1 to 100. Because I'm not a woman, so I don't know how childbirth pain is. But my God, when you go through sickle cell pain, it's actually, at times you wish like you are dead. My wife, my lovely wife, who actually has been with me and been my sickle cell support system, and I'm ever so grateful to her. She actually knows at times when I'm actually going through the sickling pain. I'll be probably grunting and sort of a little bit lethargic, and she said, "Oh, are you getting some? Is it coming on?" And I'll say, "Yeah, maybe." And then what she does, like, she go and just pack my bag immediately to go to the hospital. Yeah. So having said that, that's the painful aspect. But also, why it's quite morbid is that because of the problem with the blood, it affects our system in terms of the liver, the spleen. It affects our sight as well. So generally, if I can just sort of like summarize, it's sort of with those sort of morbidity, it's we have like how do you say it, a short sort of like, well, we're meant to have like short lifespan because because of the problem with all the illness, that sort of within our system. Yeah.
Okay.
If I may hand over
I'm just
to
gonna,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
so
add
I'm
to
just
that.
trying to clarify the sickling that
Yeah.
you're calling now, or you're named the sickling, or the episodes, is what a lot of people used to term as crisis.
yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I just want to point that out so that people,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
get
yeah.
it, because I think most people are more familiar with that word,
The crisis, yeah, with the
crisis.
crisis, yeah,
Somebody
that's it.
having
Yeah,
a
yeah.
crisis.
That's where you have the painful episode. Yeah,
Yeah, where you have the painful episode, and it comes from the fact that most people cells are rounded, and yours is in a sickle shape, which makes it
yeah.
difficult to flow through the blood,
Flow
and
through.
I
Yeah.
mean for
Yeah,
it to flow through your system and go
the
through
veins
Yeah.
and the
all
system.
the
Yeah,
organs, because the shape is different, and
yeah,
then that causes
yeah. To get
blockage to
trapped. Yeah.
oxygen, and
Mm-hmm.
then going through makes it quite painful. So I just want to explain so that people who
Yeah.
are listening get a good picture. I'll ask Toks, because I've heard that some people. Okay, how do you get it? Let me ask, how do you get it first before I ask the other question? How do people become sickle cell? We hear the term SS. How do people get it?
So with sickle cell SS, that means you have a full-blown sickle cell, and you get it from both of your parents, not just one. So you get, because you get, when we are born, when each child is born, you get, 50% of your gene is from your father, and the other 50 is from your mother. So either both of your parents have a sickle cell, or both of them must be a carrier for you to have the both SS. So the two S comes together for you to have
Yeah.
SS.
SS.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
think that's when we say some people have it's the blood grouping.
Yeah, it's a blood
Develops
grouping.
that.
Yeah, the blood
And then the
grouping.
genotype,
Then
becomes that. Yeah. So
yes,
it's a man who is an AS carrier and a woman who is an AS carrier
yes.
come together
So
to have
yeah.
a child.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
And two
what are the
S.
probabilities of having a child that is an SS from just two AS carriers? Do you know?
I think it's 1 in 5, if I'm right, or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
high
1 in 5.
probability. Yep.
Because
It's
when
a
you
high,
think
yeah.
about me, I have for my parents, there's 3 of us, and I'm the only one
Okay.
with them. Yes.
Yes. I don't know. So some families were like 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 4.
Yes, it's quite high.
carriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite high. So it's quite
It's quite
easy
high.
for. It's not something that can skip. When 2 people are carriers.
Sometimes you'd be
Yeah.
amazed, because I've
Yeah.
had some people that are AS, and their children are just a trait, actually.
Okay, they just have
So
the
it's very
trait.
rare.
It's
Yeah.
more or less like a kind of genetic lottery, if you understand where I'm coming
Yeah.
from. Because of my family, I've talked, I have 2 siblings, and my 2 younger sisters that have got SS as well, and 1 older brother. We're actually 6 in my family, and 3 of us have SS. And unfortunately, one of my eldest brother died through sickle cell complication. Because you can imagine, a family with 3 children with SS
With-
genotype. Yeah. So that's why at times,
So that
I
must
give.
have been challenging.
I mean,
And
I
for
have
you.
to say, my parents, I give them the kudos, and also, I mean, talks to actually even know where I'm coming from as well. I mean, I'm mom and dad as well. It's it's not easy at all.
Okay, and then I've heard that some people have more sickling than others. Is that true? Some people
Yes.
have more high recurring episodes than some people. I've heard that. Is that true?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
I do
true.
believe that's true. Because, for example, now I can only talk from my own experience. And, when I was growing up as a childhood, I used to be in a hospital every month. Every month I'm in a hospital due to sickle cell. And I used to have crises. But by the time I hit age 16, and I had the blood transfusion at age 16, and from 16 to 25, to be honest with you, I did not have any crisis at all. So some people, everybody's different, and the way everybody, get their crisis is totally different. Yes, it is.
When did you realize you were unwell? Did you know from a young age? At what age did you know that actually I'm unwell? Did you spend a lot of time in hospital as a child?
Oh yeah. I mean, as from what Toks said, from personal experience, I growing up. I mean, most of the time I was in and out of hospital when I was young. So I mean, basically, the sort of in Nigeria, and I'm sure it goes for quite a lot of countries as well in Africa.
Let's say
Yeah.
African
So,
countries,
yeah.
or even in the Caribbean, because people in the Caribbean too experience it. So
There's this sort of misconception about sickle cell because of the high morbidity rate. So they probably tend to call us abiku people. I mean that abiku in Yoruba, yeah, abiku in Yoruba in English means so like kids that dies prematurely. That's sort of like a kind of it's meant to be sort of stigma anyway. But because of the fact that it's actually, I mean, the high morbidity of infancy for people with sickle cell. So the idea was not there until later when the education and the what would I say the information started sort of seeping through. That was when the populace, or probably I would say the community start to sort of realize that okay, this is actually this is sickle cell. And obviously I was quite lucky in the sense that growing up in Nigeria, my dad doctor actually specialized in a sort of within the hematology, like sort of with blood disorder. So and the hospital called Ikeja General Hospital, I remember it now, Dr. Akpantaku. So we were quite lucky in that sense that we were able to sort of Ali was able to kind of give us the primary health care, which was not actually available in a lot of places in Nigeria. Yeah.
Okay, because what you're saying is that before there was information that this is actually a blood disease, children who had been born and died in infancy had been unwell. They got given a name.
Yeah,
it was written like they just died. But after I guess research developed, we realized that actually there is a blood disease. There's a reason
blood
why
disease actually causing a high mobility rate.
But I guess you in some way, your diagnosis was probably early because your dad had a good doctor. What about you, Toks? Do you remember when you sort of, I can imagine being poorly as a child, not having an explanation. How did you get to know, and how did your parents explain it to you?
I was actually born in England, and before I was 12 months old, we moved back to Nigeria. And what my father told me was, even though I was I used to get sick every month, all the time, and cried all the time. And they used to wonder what's wrong with me, and they didn't know. So they didn't actually diagnose it while I was born in England. They actually diagnosed it while I was in Nigeria. And that was actually in early age, a toddler age, actually, when they found out that I had that had sickle cell. So I was brought up knowing that I'm always in hospital, I'm a sickler, I'm a warrior, that kind of thing. So
so find that that's a lot for a child to hear, and obviously we talked about real things. So people, I'm sure you knew, had experienced it in hospital or were in hospital with you, had passed, other young children or, young adults. So how was that, knowing, that this disease that you had is quite severe, and, there's a probability of dying from it?
I mean, for me, when I was growing up as a child, that wasn't my problem. That didn't worry me. I think maybe I started getting worried maybe when I reached about 8, 9 years old. I just used to think that how come it's always me that I'm in the hospital? How come it's
Mm-hmm.
always me that I'm sick and all that kind of thing? And sometimes, it is, as a child, it worries you, but I'm one of those child that just, quite bubbly, and I just, I might just think about it for now, but I just let it pass over me. So I don't let it actually, sink into me and make me feel quite sad, because, my parents is always there. They always, do their best to look after me. So I didn't really, let it affect me that much for me.
And you, Latif?
Yeah, it's more or less how will I say? Obviously, I had quite a lot of periods when I miss school because of the
Yeah.
sickle cell episodes, and but from what Okumo actually, and that's quite true as well. Um, you find out that when you are in your infancy, or when you are younger, you tend to try to kind of get it out of your head. You try to sort of be as like you want to look at like your peers. You want to actually how will I say, prove that, like, as you are strong and fit as your peer. So you don't really can think about it. You don't know your limitation as such.
Yeah.
Not until maybe when the awareness, start getting there, that you kind of think, oh, maybe I can actually do 100 meters in in 20 minutes.
In school.
Maybe I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
And then that is when the reality sort of starts sipping in. But then when you are younger, yeah, of course, you could you want to do everything. Yeah, but when I was
Because
younger,
we feel that, yeah.
mm,
Because as children, what you're saying is that we're usually fearless, and the
Yeah.
whole idea of life actually doesn't.
yeah.
We don't really think about it. Parents
No.
are taking all the
Yeah.
responsibility and the worry. But of course,
Yeah,
when you now get to an age where you want to run in school, like you're saying,
yeah,
or you
and
want
then
to
your
play football,
limitation. Right?
and then you you realize, wow, I'm different. So did
Yeah.
you feel when those things started coming, when it became a reality for you,
Mm.
where your parents could no longer shield you and
Yeah.
protect you
Yeah.
from it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
feel different? Toks, did you feel different?
I think I do, because I remember my father used to say oh no, that he's not going to let me, like a teenager, you can go out, you can go to party, so, none of that. I didn't do any of that. And he's always said that, oh, I will just find you one of my friends' son that can look after you very well to get married to, that kind of thing. Which I used to think, what's the on about, that kind of stuff. I just, at the time, I just wanted to, I just wanted to live my life at the end of the day. But they kind of shield you and put you in a, wrap you up in a cotton wool, that kind of stuff. For me, that's what they did to me. And to be honest with you, I didn't really like it, And another thing that I must say that, how sickle cell have also affected me was, even though, I used to, like I was said, growing up was in and out of hospital every month. And that actually affected my education, because I actually didn't learn or how to read until I was 14. Not that I didn't go to school, but I actually didn't learn or how to read properly until I was 14. And that is due to me having crisis, because my parents are more, they're concentrating on me getting better, having a good life and just, feel well and get better. Not so much of, oh, we need to teach her how to read, how to write. And even though all my siblings know how to read and write. So, yes. So I think that, in that sense, and you can imagine that actually shattered my confidence a lot as well as growing up. Yeah.
And because what you're saying is, now it sounds like your parents were really protective over you, and
Especially
they
my
were not
father.
going to take they were not going to take chances with you going out, or they were not even bothered that you had to achieve in school. I think their main focus, it sounds like, was, we need to keep her alive regardless of what it takes. So it sounds actually quite loving and protective.
It is,
But
when you think of it, yeah.
But to hear that at 14, you can't, you couldn't read you properly at 14. That's a big deal.
It's a
That's
big,
a
yeah,
big deal.
it is a massive, yeah, it is a big deal. It is
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
deal, yeah.
So how did you catch up? How did you catch up?
How did I catch up? Amazing. So I came to UK when I was 14. I came back to UK when I was 14, and at this stage, my mother passed away a year before that. She passed away when I was 13. So, and again, I had a crisis as soon as I arrived in UK, and I was admitted in hospital. And at that age, you'll be in children's ward. So they had teachers back in the days. Then they had teachers
in the
children's
hospitals.
ward, in the hospitals, that so the children that are sick in the hospital, they can catch up on their studies and things like that, do some little bit work with them. So I had this lovely lady. She was a teacher. Her name is Pamela. I can never forget. And she used to come and sit with me and say that, okay, how you feeling today and things like that. Do you want us, just to read and things like that? And she noticed that, when she gave the books, I couldn't really, sound it out or pronounce the word and things like that. So she started, she took it upon herself, actually, bless her, to start teaching me, how to read, how to write. And that way I just started doing it myself as well. And also, just pick up children's book and read them. And I also learned the phonics as well at the same time, because I know that in the future I'm going to have my own children, and I'm going to, I need to teach them how to read and write.
And actually, that would have impacted you. I think I was just thinking that if perhaps you had remained, in that sort of sheltered way your parents were bringing you up in Nigeria, there's a possibility that you would never have caught up on that. You would have then just been
exactly
we would call semi-illiterate, trying to function in a world of letters. So Latif, do you have? I mean, that's a big thing that happened to Toks along the way, and then she lost her mom, who was so caring at 13. So that must have been devastating.
Yeah. I remember all that. Yeah.
So, and you, I think, talked about running and playing as a little boy. So did it impact you, in educationally, or you went to school regardless?
Personally, I was quite lucky in the sense that it did actually disrupt my education. I won't say, I mean, it did actually disrupt my education, apart from the periods of absences in school, and I was able to catch up. But from my own experience, maybe probably I would like to say, it's just sort of, as a boy, as a young boy, you want to be around playing football, running, doing things that your peers are doing. But then I couldn't, and obviously it shatters your confidence, as Toks said. And also during my teens, when my friend probably would be going out clubbing maybe all night, and I tried it. And then after that, I get ill. The second time again, I got ill, and it's sort of like kind of it affects you mentally and then physically. You understand where I'm coming from, because they know your limitation and the aspect kind of affects you mentally, and as a young boy or as a young man growing up, it could be quite be sort of emotionally disheartening, sort of.
Because now you can't do what every young man
yes
at that age. Did you suffer from being stigmatized with it? Were you sort of pointed at, talked about?
Luckily, not much. I was quite lucky in the sense that I have a very close-knit family, and even so, kids being cruel, as you said, I can't sort of participate in high energy sort of pursuits like sports. So in a way, you kind of like refer to as mommy's boy. You understand that,
Yeah.
sort of that sort of aspect, it kind of knocks,
Yeah.
it knocks your confidence, But
Yes.
apart from that, it wasn't too bad. Yeah.
And Toks, did you suffer from being stigmatized by it?
No,
Not
I
personally.
wasn't. No, not
Okay.
personally. Just the same as
Yeah.
Lati. No, not personally. No.
Not personally, but do you feel that sometimes people are, or do you think that we're well educated in our community? Because I've heard of people, like, when they want to get married and the person just happens to be suffering with sickle cell anemia. There's a lot of
Yeah.
uproar. Yeah.
Yeah,
That goes with that.
the issue, Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So,
That idea, Sorry, you go.
Because the
Lati.
awareness is there now, and apparently even in places like Nigeria, if couples are actually sort of maybe going out, they probably, if they want to settle down or thinking of maybe getting
getting
married,
married.
they have to do their blood test, genotype. I mean, that is actually, I mean, it's really sort of terrible, isn't it? Because of the fact that I've heard of stories of couples who unfortunately are not able to actually get married because of the fact that they have both AS. You can imagine
Okay.
that sort of.
So you think that's wrong? You think that's wrong for people to
You know,
test and then make
that's
decisions against getting married?
that is that is actually a very interesting question. I would. I mean, of course, I could be blasé and say, "Oh yeah, love conquers all." No, because especially in places like Nigeria, where the health facility is not actually that much developed,
Great. Mhm.
you could actually practically ruin. I mean, financially, ruin your family, bankrupt your family, raising children, with sickle cell. So obviously, you have to think of that as well. So in a way, it's a kind of it's a catch-22 situation when it comes to, like, oh, this person, should I put love first, or should I put practicality and put your head instead of your heart? If you understand where I'm coming from. So it is a very it's quite sad, yes, from that aspect.
Okay. Toks, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm completely opposite from him. I'm sorry to say, because I'm a warrior and I know what a warrior goes through. I wouldn't even imagine my worst enemy to go through the kind of pain that a warrior goes through. So therefore, if there's AS and AS that wants to get married, for me, is a no.
Okay.
It's a
You would
no.
advise it. You would say no.
I would say no completely, because
Yeah.
to bring a child into this world with with a sickle cell anemia, and it's 50-50 chance,
Yeah.
and when you are a children as well, they actually have a more higher risk of having stroke as well
Yeah.
when they're children at that age as well. So it for me, I mean, everybody has their own opinion, but for me, it's a no. I think it's something that couple really, really need to think of, because not only having AS and NS and bringing a child, then you also yourself are a trait as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes anything can go wrong. It will be in a trait. Some people, they say, yeah, they don't have crisis like we do, but sometimes they get, because I have a sister, sometimes they have a little joint pain here and there.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not crisis like we do. So, it's something they definitely really need to think about. Definitely. And I do know people that do get married with that kind of genotype. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I know people still do it. Sometimes people with faith do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
They feel that somehow God will
Prevail.
preserve them and
Yeah.
prevail. But I think what we both have said, or with the three of us agree, that it's something that they really have to have good conversation
Yeah.
about.
Definitely.
To weigh the cost, the risk, and sometimes it causes some marriages actually to fracture and break.
Oh yeah,
The pressure
yeah.
of having to look after
As we said,
a
the
child,
financial
the
aspect
support.
of it, and then the emotional aspect as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
Yes.
I know, Toks, you mentioned earlier that you got a blood transfusion when you were about 16, and from like 16 to 25, if I'm right, you didn't
Yeah.
have crisis. So is that a way of managing the sickle cell?
Definitely, it is. Yes, one of the ways of having a sickle cell. Some people do have blood transfusion every month, but I don't need a blood transfusion every month. I actually had it when I was 16, and I had it for a whole of 6 months period. So every month I go in the hospital, and I had the sickle blood come out and have a blood put in me, and that, and that actually helps me a lot with my lifestyle. I mean, it's such an easy thing for me to say now because it did really help me a lot and everything. But that's one of the reasons now we also screaming and shouting that we do also need a Black community to please be donating blood also, because it saves lives. It saved lives. Even in September, when I was in hospital with a crisis, my hemoglobin level dropped down quite a lot. So I had to add again two bag of blood. I mean 3 bags of blood. For it to be able to pick up a bit. So we do. It does help us a lot. It helps us to live a normal life and to do normal things, basically. Yeah, and it saves life, to be honest with you. It really saves lives, yeah.
It does. It saves, and it gives you a better quality of life, and it
Oh yeah.
elongates or yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay. Lati, is there another way of treating
Personally, every day of my life, I have to at least take folic acid. I take folic acid. I take penicillin. That's almost every day. And obviously, when I have sickle cell episodes, I have sort of manage it with strong painkillers, sorry, such as tramadol. And at times, I've actually had to take a very strong opioid called oxycodone. Yeah, which is actually, that's another level, because when you take that, it's kind of it's more or less it inhibits your concentration. And when I'm on oxycodone, I tend to sort of maybe take time off from work, and that's actually a step that's like I could manage it from home rather than being in hospital. But when it comes, but at times if we get beyond that, then I have to call the ambulance, and go to the hospital.
Go to hospital. Okay, so it sounds quite, apart from you have to maintain, you have to manage your health. So are there any things that particularly trigger a crisis?
I mean, for me, it's what's it called? For me, stress.
Yeah.
If I'm, too stressed or worried about something, cold. Cold at the same time, very hot weather. You have to make sure that you are very, drinking a lot of water, hydrated. So yes, things like that. But saying that also, I'm just gonna go back to your last question. What other medication? They also have now bone marrow, which I
I've heard of that.
Bone stem marrow. Yes.
Bone stem marrow transplant.
Yes, transplant. Yes, but I think about a year ago, I heard on ITV there was a guy probably in his 40s or late 40s that had it, but I know that it's more common in children because they are still growing and
growing up,
and they have less
complications. Well,
they have less complication. When I say complication, that they don't have any other health issues.
No underlying issues that develop.
Yes, like at that at that age yet, kind of thing.
So with the bone marrow and the transplants, it's better to do it younger. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That is what that is what I read on that, and that's what
That's true. Yeah. It's more,
because I've heard
more well tolerated.
I've heard. Okay, your body is less tolerant because you're younger.
Yeah.
And I've heard of people who've had it. You know, is it an effective way of getting healed or getting cured of the disease?
It definitely cured the disease, yes, because I've actually heard of somebody that had it in America, which is my husband's friend's nephew. Yeah, had it in the States, and he was in his 20s, and he has not had any, what's it called? Yeah, he's been well. He has not had any crisis or anything at all. Yes, so it is definitely, quite good. But again, it costs a lot of money.
A lot of money,
Yes.
Yes. I'm not sure it's available on the NHS yet.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Not sure, yeah.
Okay. I think I'll save that for a little bit later. But I know no, because I was going to later on to ask how we in the community can help. Yeah, I think because the disease is for us, we don't do enough charity, we don't do enough awareness, blood giving, that kind of thing. We're not really shouting from the rooftops about it, so we don't get the money for research or people donating. Okay, I wanted to ask, because I know Toks has faith, so has that helped you? Has that been a console, something that you've relied on your journey?
For me, totally. I think I was born as a Muslim, then I gave my life to Christ back in early 90s. And since then, for me, with my journey with my life, and especially with sickle cell, that has been my rock, to be honest with you, because without my faith, I don't know how I live, basically. Because, like we said, being a warrior, it can also get you depressed, and you can go into depression, you can go into moods and things like that. And for me, having my faith has really, lift me up, because when I'm having when the crisis is kind of madly coming and things like that, I need to tune my mind, not thinking negative things, thinking positive things, thinking the word of God, and maybe sometimes just put a gospel song on. That kind of thing actually has helped me a lot, believing in God, holding on to my Christ, has really helped me quite a lot, and praying as well. Yes. So that has helped me a lot. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
I know both of you are married.
Okay. From what Toks said, I was born a Muslim as well, but I'm not a practicing Muslim, and I don't really go to church that often. But from what I could actually say in terms of the faith aspect is that, of course, I do believe that. There's a sort of omniscience, omnipotent being out there, definitely who actually looks after me, because often I always sort of think, if not for that sort of belief. Faith doesn't have to be, maybe in terms of which aspect of religion, but faith is all encompassing, and I believe that actually sort of really sort of helping and ameliorating the problems and the emotional and physical turmoil associated with this debilitating illness. Because without that, obviously, it will have been very, very, very difficult, and I would like to say very lonely sort of road. But thank God, I'm a very firm believer as well, in that there's someone there,
that faith
protecting me,
I know both of you are married. So we have to like bring them in and bring the
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Because I think as soon as we logged on, Latif, that was one of the first things he said.
Yeah.
Oh, my lovely wife, really helps and supports me.
She's
so
been my okay.
Maybe we can talk. Toks, do you want to talk a little bit of how you found the man and what? And then I'm going to ask you what it felt like carrying, babies and having having the disease as well.
Yeah. So yes, I've been with my husband's name is Ademola. I've been with Demola now for about 23 years now. We've actually been married. It will be 19 years that we'll be married in the next 2 weeks. Yeah. So yes, I think when we first met, I think I was 25 or so, and I just say straight away, I don't hide that, I'm a warrior. So I said to him, that I'm a warrior, that kind of thing. And he straight away, he kind of get it. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go and do a blood test. That's what he said to me. I was like, wow, okay. And I'm like, so what's going to happen after? And he goes, well, if he comes up that I'm a traitor, because he has an auntie that also SS. So he goes, if he comes out that, I'm a traitor, or whatever, that obviously we'll go our own way, that kind of thing. And I'm like, okay. So but he went to have his blood test. God have it was AA. So yes. And he, like Lati said, his wife is his rock. My husband takes it on 110%. 110%. He doesn't joke with my health. He's there. He's supportive. He whenever I'm not well or things like that, he just sorts out the kids. I mean, thank God the kids are now 16 and 10 years old, but he just sort them out. He doesn't even think twice. That kind of thing. He doesn't think twice. And not only him, his family also are very, very supportive. So for me, that has actually helped me a lot. That's helped me a lot, and that has also helped our marriage a lot as well. So
to have the family support as well.
To have the family support in both sides.
Pregnant? Was it easy to get pregnant?
Yes, it was easy to get pregnant. That wasn't getting pregnant wasn't a problem. It was just during the pregnancy. I remember with my first, and each part was different. For my first son, I remember I used to have to go to hospital appointment every 2 weeks. They check in, just to make sure I'm fine. But having the baby, I remember I was in agony, and being a warrior, and the pain, the crisis pain that you have, and I was thinking to myself before I went into labor that, I wonder what's going to be like, because they always say, I've heard that labor pain is really painful and this and that. So, and I wasn't going to take a epidural, I was going to have a natural birth, but because I'm a warrior, they induced me at 38 weeks. Just to not make sure that, they didn't want me to be overstressed. So when they introduced me and everything, nothing happened for another week or a week and a half. But I was in hospital all throughout that time. But after giving birth, I actually had crisis, which that was horrible. That was really horrible. That was really painful. And after giving birth to my first child, I could not carry my son, and that went on for like good 2 months or so, because I was in and out of hospital. Yeah, like us, Nigerian, after you give birth, you do naming ceremony in a week's time. We didn't even bother with that, because I remember the day we were supposed to do a naming ceremony, I had to go back to the hospital. I had crisis, so, and I had, thank God, I had my cousin staying with me at the time, and also my mother-in-law staying with us at the time. So, so they were there to look after the baby, and I was in hospital without my baby. So that was really painful. Even breastfeeding the baby, I couldn't breastfeed baby because I was on so much medication as well at the same time. But fine enough, my second child, everything went smoothly. I didn't have any problem. So like I said, each child is different. Each pregnancy is different.
Even with, most women, each pregnancy, I think, has its own path.
Yeah.
And you, Lati, how old is your young man?
Well,
Young boy? I think we heard him.
oh, obviously,
Wanted to be on the show with you.
I'm not an authority on a child bar, so I mean,
No, but
I'm sure Toku was actually dealt with that problem.
No, but I think
No,
you know, we hear it sometimes. People don't want to be involved with people who are SS
oh yeah,
and marry them. Yeah,
and
so it's good to hear your stories.
yeah, I'm coming to that. Yeah, I think it's quite very, very important for sickle cell warriors, to have that sort of support. Like when we talk of family support, then your married life as well, it's very tangential to having a very good quality of life, with sickle cell.
Yeah.
I've been extremely lucky in the sense that I mean, funny enough, my wife, she's not African. She's a Scandinavian. She's from Sweden. She's white. And we met. We fell in love. Obviously, boys, girls met, and fell in love. And we've been married now for almost 15 or 16 years. And I'll tell you what, she knows much more about sickle cell than a lot of my friends does.
Yes, I can believe
she does, yeah. And because she's been that support, she understands the sort of the highs and lows of what that living with sickle cell entails. And as I said, she reads me. She knows that if I'm going to be a bit down, or if I'm going to have some sickle cell crisis, she just tell me, I say, is it how you do you need to go to the hospital? Do you want me to pack your bag? It's like, yeah,
she's ready.
Yeah, so she knows all about the at least the signs to look for and what it entails. So it has been a very tremendous sort of backbone support, and without her, I wouldn't
Both
have
of
it.
you have wonderful stories.
Honestly, yeah. Because the quality of life, that I have, and I'm sure Tokumbo does as well. It's actually predicated on having that very strong, marital bond, and yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We are coming to time. I'm just wondering. I think I mentioned it a few minutes ago that I think what Toks said it, which is one thing about us giving blood, which is something that we don't do often. So does the blood have to come from somebody in the Black community, or is that important?
Yeah.
Is that important in the transfusion? Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is it that we can do better? When I mean we, I mean that can bring awareness, that we in the Black community can contribute. What just comes to mind that we can do better?
So what comes to mind that we can do better? Basically, I will never stop saying we need, Black community need to give blood. Black community need to give blood. We need to stop saying, oh, what are they going to use my blood for, or that kind of thing, or I don't like a needle or anything like that.
I don't have the time.
We definitely.
I don't have the time.
I don't have the time. Or where I need to go, the place is about an hour drive from my house. No, we just need. Charity begins from home. And we need to start, and we just need to, we need to keep on posting. We need to keep on raising awareness. Like, you brought us to your broadcast today. Thank you very much. We just need to keep on talking and educating Black people. We need to go into schools and talking to people and educating them, even employers as well. Because I remember when I was working in a bank and I used to take time off, and they didn't really understand it. Sometimes they would just put it down as cold or things like that. And I'm like, it's not cold, I have crisis. So just, educating,
bring some employment awareness.
Employment awareness as well, that is very important. But as a Black community, we need to be out there supporting each other and just raising our voice all the time, and just and listening. Just
Yeah.
don't just hear it and walk past, listening. And it's amazing what Lati says, that his wife, that is not a Black person, have more understanding of sickle cell anemia than his friends. And it's so amazing is he said that, because I can tell you the same thing as well. Before I met my husband, they didn't know much about sickle cell. They've heard about it, but they didn't have a clue, how you affect people or what it is. Even up to now, some of my friends as well, they, when one of them saw me having blood transfusion last year, because I posted on my status and things like that, and she was like, wow, she reached out to me and she's like, where can I go and give blood? So little things like that, they just, we need to pick up, when somebody give us a leaflet about sickle cell or anything, let's read it and let's put in action to it. Yes.
Okay, so some knowledge, some action. Simple, and the simplest actually is giving blood. That's the simplest.
Just to add, maybe the NHS should be more creative in terms of maybe going to places of worship like churches or mosques to actually have like blood, where they could do blood bank, or where they could actually collect blood from, to be more. So rather than maybe just asking for blood, in the hospital, for people to go to the hospital, I mean, are people
making it more accessible for people?
More accessible. So people say, maybe I have to go to the hospital to go. I mean, a lot of people have even phobias of going to hospitals, So that in itself.
What we're saying is that even churches, any places of religious,
more
actually have an awareness day.
Oh, excellent.
Sickle cell, there can be donations, because there'll be people in the congregation who are living with the disease.
Definitely.
Thank you both very much. Would anybody like to leave us with a last word?
I'd leave that to Tokumo.
I know. Toks gave us the first. I mean, that's my thing. I'm going to put it on my status. An SS warrior.
I just want to say that for every single warrior that you are out there, you are doing great. And if you need help, please do not keep quiet. Reach out for help. And people, please reach out and just call people and just see how they are. There's nothing wrong with checking on each other and to seeing how people are feeling, especially in these days that we are in this pandemic. And please, please, please give blood. Give blood. Black people. Give blood. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know whether I can call it interesting, just to have two people who are warriors, who have wonderful love stories attached, who are living with a disease that is debilitating, where, a lifespan or a time that we expect is going to end. But these two are examples that you can live a full, active life. They're parents, they're workers, they're business owners. So I celebrate Lati and Toks, and I thank them. Please join me next week for another conversation with Lydia. My name is Lydia Khalil. Thank you for joining me.
LCBN television broadcasts 24/7 on UK Freeview Channel 271, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, Google TV, See Love World, LCBNTV.com, LifeComTV.com.